Right here in the New York Times, even today, Paul Krugman, who hates everything conservative, hates everything Republican, and despises personally Ronald Reagan, has a piece called Despair American Style. A couple of weeks ago, President Obama mocked Republicans who are down on America and reinforced his message by doing a pretty good grumpy cat impression. And he had a point. With job growth at rates not seen since the 90s, with the percentage of Americans covered by health insurance hitting record highs, the doom and gloom predictions of his political enemies look ever more at odds with reality. Do you see how devoid of reality this is? We have 94 million Americans not working, and Krugman here writes of job growth at rates not seen since the 90s? Need I remind you of the news 2 weeks ago that half of the people who work in this country make less than $30,000 a year? When you read Krugman describe the U.S. economy, do you see any evidence of it? I mean, when we have a roaring economy and when there's job creation left and right and all kinds of growth, there's generally also a feeling of euphoria or happiness or well-being or contentment that propels it. It's not the Republicans who are the grumpy cats down on America. It's the Democrats, the college campuses, the professors. The anti-American sentiment is found exclusively on the left in this country. Pro-American sentiment, we own it. Pro-American sentiment, how great this country was, how great it is, how great the founding. It's all us, folks. We're the only ones, we're the last ones left who believe it and who teach it. And to the extent that there's negativity, it's because of what's being done to it. By that, I mean the country. There's an all-out assault on the founding of this country, on the traditions, the institutions, whatever you want to describe. All of these great things that are under constant assault as unjust, immoral, unfair. We have done more to reciprocate for slavery and racism in any nation on earth. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think we hadn't done diddly squat by just reading the news any given day. We have had affirmative action. We've done quotas. We have turned this country upside down, to be fair. We have engaged on the basis of sympathy. We've engaged on the basis of we feel so sorry for you, which is, I think, the crux of the civil rights movement to this day. We have the soft bigotry of low expectations of American minorities. It's the left that own the plantations of thinking. It's the left that assumes people can't do well on their own. It's people like Krugman and the people he props up and supports who believe that minorities and others are incapable of making the right decisions in life, and that's why we need big governments making decisions for people, because the people are not to be trusted. The people aren't smart enough. The people aren't worldly enough. The people aren't sophisticated enough. They're not going to do the right thing. Government has to do it for them under the guise of protecting them from themselves. The contempt for average, ordinary Americans' home is the Democrat Party of today and the American left. And yet here's Krugman writing about Republicans down on America. Who is it that runs around apologizing for America every chance he got? Barack Hussein, last I looked. It's Barack Hussein, Obama, and the Democrat Party, which every time they upturn a rock finds something wrong with this country from the beginning days, from the get-go. It's they who have said they need to transform this country. So, Krugman admits that there's despair out there. Here's his next paragraph. Yet there is a darkness spreading over part of our society, and we don't know why. And I'm sure they don't. I'm sure Krugman hasn't the slightest idea. In his world, why, this is the greatest this country's ever been. We have a first African-American president. Why, health care? He actually wants to write about how great Obamacare is and how well it's doing. It's bankrupting people. It's closing businesses. It is reordering the way people live their lives. Obamacare barely may not even be able to survive on its own without a rewrite. We just had that story last week from a bunch of Democrats who think so. It's absolute disaster, as is most of the Obama administration. The reason why there is a darkness spreading over our society is because there is no pushback to any of this. The reason there is a darkness is because over half the country does not agree with what is happening to it and always believe that the people they vote for, the Republican Party, would stand up and stop it, or at least try to. And there hasn't been much of that at all. That's why there is a darkness. That's why there is a despair, because the political system is letting people down. They have gone to the polls dutifully. They've gone to the polls loyally. They have voted. They have done everything they can to stop what's happening here, thinking they are electing people who agree with them, are going to stand up to Obama and say, stop, no more. Instead, what happens? The people they elect end up helping Obama accomplish what he wants to accomplish to one degree or another, or joining him if it happens to be something like immigration and amnesty. Our country's being overrun, just like Europe is being overrun. American people know that it's not an accident and it's not something that could not be stopped. It could be. There isn't a willingness to stop it. There is a darkness spreading over our society because the people who live in this country have figured out that what they want is not of any concern to people in Washington. Illegal immigrants' concerns are more important to people in Washington than the desires and wants of the American people. There are so many things 180 degrees out of phase. I couldn't list them all if I started here for the remainder of this program. But Krugman's column indicates a giant disconnect. So now we take it to the campus. We got such a growing, great economy. Everything's doing so well. Obama's done so. Why all this unrest on campus, Mr. Krugman? Why all this anger at Ferguson, Missouri? Why are these things going so off the rails? If this country is so great and Obama's done such a great job and everybody's got a job and everybody's happy and we're roaring for, why this anger? And what's really puzzling about it is the people who are angry are the people who are winning. The people who are angry are those getting what they want. University of Missouri president just quit. You want to bet that there's not any newfound happiness this afternoon, tonight, or tomorrow on campus, University of Missouri? You want to bet the unrest continues? You want to bet all kinds of agitation continues? You want to bet expressions of anger, unfairness, white privilege continue, even though the university president was gotten rid of? The people winning are the ones angry. The people winning are the ones unhappy. The people winning are the ones protesting, burning, tearing down. The people winning are unhappy because even when they win, they don't get what they want because what they want is not attainable. What they want is the elimination of opposition. This is all about getting rid of Republicans, getting rid of conservatives, eliminating them as a powerful opposition force in any way on campus, at the ballot box, in Washington, you name it. That's one of the driving forces here. But beyond that, the left gets what they want in Indiana. They get what they want with the legalization of marijuana. They get what they want with the legalization of gay marriage. Now we're on to transgender rights. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, whatever it is, cultural overthrow they want, they're getting. And with each victory, they become angrier and more miserable. Why is that? I wonder. I don't know about you. When I win, I'm happy. Haven't won much lately, so I don't know what it feels like lately, but I guarantee you this. When I do win, I do not get angrier, and I don't want to tear things down, and I don't want to destroy or ruin people when I win. They do. Figure that out. Why, it was just a few years ago that we heard Michael Sam was embraced by the entire campus and the entire city of Columbia, Missouri, because the people there were not racist. They were not homophobic. Why? They were advanced. They were culturally way ahead of the bitter clingers. Mizzou was a campus showing the way, the light of the way. Why, we had a gay football player. He won awards. He was going to be drafted into the NFL, and he was embraced and loved by what in less than 2 years has become a place of white privilege and dire racism and bigotry and sexism and homophobia. What happened in these 2 years? It's not just Mizzou either, folks.